We now know that Battlefield 6 will launch with a total of 45 weapons. There was a recent event where the media and some content creators actually got to play some of the larger maps in-game, also got to experience all the weapons, all the gadgets, of course all the vehicles and stuff we did not see in the beta, and DICE and EA actually lifted the NDA on a lot of this stuff so they could go ahead and post about it. So in this video, I wanted to talk about all 45 weapons that we'll be seeing in Battlefield 6. So let's go ahead and start off with the assault rifles. There will be a total of 8 assault rifles in Battlefield 6. Now this list is going to have a lot of weapons that you've probably used or heard of in past Battlefield games, and I was really glad to see some of these return. First of all, we have the M433, the B36AF, the SOR 556 MK2, the AK4D, the TR7, the Cord 6P67, the NVO 228E, and the L85A3. And from what I've heard during this playthrough that a lot of the media and the content creators got to participate in, the L85A3 was really good. And I was glad to see that weapon added back in. I'm a big fan of the L85 and past Battlefield titles. When it comes to carbines, we have a total of 7. The M4A1, the M277, the AK205, the M417A2, so the M417A2, which we got to use in the beta. I was a big fan of that gun in the beta. The GRT B7, the QBZ192, the SG553R. When it comes to submachine guns, there will be a total of 8 at launch. The SGX, the PW5A3, the PW7A2, the UMG40, the USG90, the KV9, the SCW10, and the SL9. When it comes to LMGs, there will be a total of 8 at launch. The L110, the DRS IAR, the fan favorite M60. Pretty much every Battlefield game ever has had an M60 in it, and for good reason. It's a lot of fun to use. The RPKM, which is another old school Battlefield weapon. The M123K, the M250, the KT S100 MK8, and the M24OL. For DMRs, there's only going to be 4 at launch. The M39 EMR, the LMR27, the SVK 8.6, and the SVDM. I'm going to be curious to see what improvements they made to the DMRs from the beta to the launch of the game. I felt like the DMRs were kind of hit and miss. They kind of performed well at times, but of course the maps we had in the beta were a lot closer quarters than some of the larger maps we'll have, of course, when the game launches. But DMRs a lot of times are used to counter snipe with, and I did not really feel like these were great counter snipe weapons. They just didn't really perform that well, so I hope they have made a few improvements to those. Speaking of sniping, there will be 3 sniper rifles available at launch. The M2010 ESR, the SV98, and the PSR. When it comes to shotguns, there will be 3 of those as well available at launch. The M87A1, the M1014, the 8.5 KSK, and for pistols, P18, the ES 5.7, the M45A1, and the M44. Now I found it kind of interesting there was not a revolver section here. We know a lot of Battlefield titles have several revolvers along with pistols as well, but there was not a separate section for those revolvers, unfortunately. This is still a lot of weapons. I mean, 45 weapons is more than I kind of expected. We had seen a lot of leaks for Battlefield 6's weapon list, but of course those were all leaks from Battlefield Labs. We did not know if those were all weapons that were going to make it into the game at all, or if those, could have been some weapons that may be something they were testing for later down the road for seasons or events. We do know they said they're going to do in-game events. We are going to have, of course, a season pass, a battle pass. I'm sure one or the other will have the weapons available in them, whether it's the battle pass or maybe the events. They did some things like that in Battlefield 2042, where they had events and some of the rewards, of course, were new weapons. I will be curious to see how well these weapons perform. We do know that there was some changes in recoil from what we had in the beta. A lot of people felt like some of the guns were laser beams, some of them were inaccurate, some of them, like I said, the DMRs were not really that good. So I'm going to be curious to see what they have done. They said they kind of made a pass all around for the weapons. So they kind of did some tweaks to everything from what EA put out after the beta was over. But I feel like there's a lot of good weapons here, and we know there's a lot of attachments for these weapons as well. So this is going to be a good chunk of stuff to unlock and also unlock attachments for. It's going to be a really good time playing Battlefield 6 if you're a fan of some of the older weapons that we've had before, or a fan of some of these newer ones that we have not seen in past Battlefield titles. This is going to be a lot of stuff to unlock, a lot of weapons to unlock, a lot of attachments to unlock, and everything we're getting now out of this playtest from the media and some of the content creators. There's been a lot of information coming out about, you know, vehicles and gadgets and vehicle camos, and I'm going to make some videos about those in the next few days as well. But I was really glad to see this list, because a lot of people felt like when 2042 was released, there was not enough weapons there. Now we do know that 2042 has a lot more weapon variety now than it did when it did come out. But of course, a lot of those weapons in 2042 are portal weapons from things like, Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3. So those weren't really weapons that were just, added into the game. Now there was some added into the game through the battle passes or through events or things like that. But when it came to original weapon release, 2042 probably was slacking lacking just a bit in quantity and quality. A lot of people felt like only certain weapons were really good, and that was true for a lot of them right at the start. It looks like we're going to have a lot of variety here, which makes me really hope that the weapons that we used in the beta that were really good are still going to have some type of counter to them that's really good as well. So we think about things like the M4A1, which is a great gun in the beta. I really also like the M4 or the M417A2, but we don't know how those are going to kind of, be compared to something like the QBZ or the GRT. So I'm hoping that these other weapons that we did not get to use or play with in the beta are going to be really good as well, because some of those weapons that we had in the beta performed, incredibly. And if they're still that good, that's what people are going to kind of gravitate towards when the game launches, because you're already familiar with it. You're already kind of familiar with what attachments come with it. You're already familiar with what's comfortable to you with that gun. And if some of these are not as good, that's the only thing that I have had an issue with in Battlefield in the past. They have a lot of great weapons, but some of them are just not that good, and it takes them forever to kind of get them up to par. They have to do a lot of nerfing to the guns that are really good, and I'm not a big fan of that whatsoever. I'm a big fan of, if you have really good weapons in a first-person shooter, just buff everything else up. Don't start knocking, the good weapons down, buffing up the worst weapons, and then it kind of turns out you have a weapon that you buffed that was not as good to begin with, and it turns out to be one of the better weapons in the game, and you have to nerf it again. And it's just kind of a back and forth where you have good weapons and they get nerfed and they're good again, or vice versa. And it's just kind of annoying to me. I hope they kind of go with that idea, and I'm not sure if they will. I'm sure they won't, because most people do not. But I would really like to see if there's some weapons that stand out, unless it's something insane to where it's like an instant kill with it. I think everything should kind of be buffed up to those really good weapons, so you can have everything kind of on par with each other. That way we have a ton of different selection to play with when Battlefield 6 launches on October the 10th. Leave me a comment. Let me know what weapons you're looking forward to using in Battlefield 6 when it launches. I know it's getting closer to time. I cannot wait to play. I've been struggling to find anything to play much as of late, especially now that I finished the Battle Pass in 2042, But I'm really looking forward to Battlefield 6, and I cannot wait to hop in. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, and if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.